Buffs football team was dealt their first loss of the season, while the soccer team remained undefeated.
2 weeks before opening tip-off, both the men's and women's basketball teams had their annual media day right here in Boulder. We'll get you caught up on all that and more right here on BuffSports Live. All right, we're doing to Southern Cal in search of their first win against the USC Trojans since joining the Pac-12 in 2011. And we'll pick things up here in the second quarter off a Drew Lewis interception. LaVisca Chenault lined up as the Wildcat quarterback. And look at that block by Brady Russell. And there goes Visca. 49-yard touchdown to put the Buffs up early on. But USC would recover from that pretty quickly. There's JT Daniels to Tyler Vaughn over to the left side. That's a pickup of 29. And then right off of that, there's Daniels going deep for Vaughns here, and he gets him. Beats Chris Miller on the double move to tie the game up at 7. Trojans would strike again through the air as Daniels hooks up with Michael Pittman there. That's from 70 yards out this time, beating Davion Taylor. And the Trojans would go up 14-7 at this point in the game. Then they would extend their lead to 2 touchdowns later on when Daniels connects with Pittman again here. And that would be a nice chunk completion and a first down as well. And then they capitalize and score the touchdown on a 10-yard pass from Daniels to who else but Michael Pittman. He would finish the day with 6 catches for 154 yards. Then later on, off the tip pass, Ajane Harris with the pick 6. His second pick 6 against the Buffs in as many years here, putting the Trojans up 28-7. But the Buffs wouldn't go down without a fight. There's Kyle Evans on a 2-yard touchdown run into the end zone to cut the score deficit in half. And then Steven Montez here on a play that struck up some confusion in the press box and in the stadium would run the ball into the end zone. The Buffs would try to go for the 2-point conversion. They wouldn't get it, and the Trojans would go on to win this one 31-20.
Up next, we have Gourmet Vinay in the kitchen to talk about last week's game against Southern Cal.
Coming back up.
Welcome to Gourmet Vinay. We're in the hot take kitchen cooking up some Los Angeles-style tacos. Ben Wells and Zach Gelman are with me today. Guys, it was a disappointing game against USC. Buffs looked like a shell of themselves, which was surprising for a team who's been so consistent.
Yeah, Vinay, you said it. It was just so disappointing. The offense was so good for Colorado in the first 5 games, but there was nothing going for most of this game. The defense was actually the bright spot for the Buffs. They had a pick on their first play of the game, another one later on in the first quarter. They held USC to under 350 yards, only 24 points, which is impressive considering USC's quality and the fact that it was a road game. But the offense just couldn't do anything with this gift that the defense gave them.
Yeah, Zach, let us take a closer look at that offense, because it seemed like the offensive line wasn't giving Montez much time to throw.
Yeah, Vinay, the offensive line got no push. They had no protection for Montez. Trayvon McMillan was running east and west instead of north and south. And like Ben said, a pick on the first play of the game put them on USC's 40-yard line, and they couldn't do anything to get started in the beginning of the game, so that hurt.
Yeah, and it couldn't help that the Buffs had a bad queso predictability.
Yeah, Vinay, predictability is the perfect word to describe Colorado's offense in this game. They just were doing the same thing over and over again. They were doing these short plays, not taking enough shots down the field. LaVisca Chenault Jr. only averaged 8 yards per catch. Katie Nixon only 6 yards per catch. They just needed to spread out their offense more. A little bit of creativity would have gone a long way, and USC's defense just ate them up in this game.
Yeah, and that loss left a bad taste in most Buffs fans' mouths, guys.
Colorado head basketball coach Tad Boyle announced that sophomore big man Dallas Walton suffered a season-ending knee injury in Tuesday's practice. The Buffs have a few players they hope will step up. And JUCO transfer Shane Gatling looks to be in line for significant playing time, along with redshirt freshman Evan Batty, who is back after his redshirt season, and a few health issues as well. And of course, they still have McKinley Wright.
That I do have one piece of news that I'm going to share with you, but we lost Dallas Walton yesterday to an ACL
Because he was
in practice. He went down, and unfortunately, we got the news confirmed in the afternoon. But so we will not have him or his services this week or this year, excuse me. I just want to let people know that this is not the end of the road for him by any means. I mean, he's going to come back stronger than he was before, and in the big picture of things, it could be a good thing for him and for our program. But in the short run, it's difficult. It's no fun, and I just feel sick to my stomach for him.
On the women's side, head coach J.R. Payne expressed excitement regarding the team's young core. Although they return 8 players, they have 5 incoming freshmen. Senior Kennedy Leonard and sophomore Annika Jank expressed excitement regarding the team's camaraderie and leadership that was built on their annual trip to Italy. We'll see if that translates into success when the season tips off a week from Sunday.
We actually are better than we were a year ago, most definitely. Part of it is we have 2 great seniors who have logged a lot of minutes in Colorado uniforms, and we expect them to be big contributors, especially at the guard position. To have that type of leadership in your backcourt is fantastic when you do have a handful of new players. At this point, we actually are better than we were a year ago, most definitely. Part of it is we have 2 great seniors who have logged a lot of minutes in Colorado uniforms, and we expect them to be big contributors, especially at the guard position. To have that type of leadership in your backcourt is fantastic when you do have a handful of new players. At this point, we actually are better than we were a year ago, most definitely. Part of it is we have 2 great seniors who have logged a lot of minutes in Colorado uniforms, and we expect them to be big contributors, especially at the guard position. To have that type of leadership.
The Buffaloes lost to USC last week and then are traveling tomorrow to Seattle to take on another in-conference team, the Washington Huskies. Our trivia question for you this week is, when did Colorado join the Pac-12? Stay tuned for the answer later in our show.
And ahead, the soccer team keeps on rolling while the tennis team wasn't as successful. We'll be right back.
On BuffSports Live.
3, 2, 1, we're clear.
Hey Rach, have you heard about the BuffSports Live desk troll?
There's no such thing, Jake.
Oh my god. In 1992, he bit an anchor's foot clean off during the show.
No way.
She mispronounced a name.
We're back on BuffSports Live. Unbelievable women's basketball game last night.
Wendy B. Kenner was amazeballs.
Well, the show must go on. She had a triple-double in 60 minutes of play as the Buffs went on to win. And we'll be right back on BuffSports Live.
The undefeated women's soccer team started off this past weekend against Oregon and Boulder. Taylor Korniak scored on 2 penalty kicks in the first half, and Marty Pukatapo added another goal to give the Buffs a 3-0 first half lead. Oregon scored a goal in the 60th minute to give the Ducks some life, but gave up another goal to Libby Garrity, her first goal of the season, to secure the Buffs' win.
And Korniak continued her hot streak against Cal. She scored a goal in the 24th minute of the game and another one right before halftime. Jorian Balcom added another score at the end of the second half, and the Buffs blanked the Cal Bears 3-0 yesterday afternoon in Berkeley. Goalkeeper Jalen Tompkins recorded her 17th career shutout on the day. With the win, Colorado extended their unbeaten streak to a program record 16 games.
Last Saturday, soccer head coach Danny Sanchez was inducted into the Metro State Athletics Hall of Fame. During his tenure as head coach at Metro, the Runners went undefeated for 4 seasons and winning 2 national championships. Sanchez, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame, comes just 2 months after being voted into the RMAC Hall of Fame in July.
After recording a couple more wins over the weekend, the soccer team has moved up to 15th in the national rankings, moving up 1 spot from last week's 16th rank. This is the highest the team has been ranked since 2009. The Buffs have been dominant this season, but have a tough challenge this week as they head to California to continue Pac-12 play and take on number 1 ranked Stanford on Sunday. Good luck to them as they continue to climb that ranking.
A pair of double wins sparked 3 single-play victories for the University of Colorado's women's tennis team in the opening day of the ITA Regional Championship Wednesday in Las Vegas, Nevada. To close out the night, Malanin took on Morgan Dickinson of Weber State, sealing the victory with a 6-2, 7-5 win. 4 Buffaloes will be back in action tomorrow with the second round of doubles first.
While Taylor Korniak's led the Buffs on the grass, Nagedi Abu has led the efforts on the hardwood.
And the women's golf and track team are both in action this weekend. We'll update you on all of this after the break.
We are the University of Colorado sailing team, still the only college sailing team in Colorado. Last year we traveled to 5 regattas and hosted our own using a fleet we bought with community support.
This year, we're raising money to purchase a safety boat that will take care of our sailors and lead effective practices to get them in tip-top shape to kick stern at regattas.
Weather changes happen quickly in Colorado, so we need to be prepared in case anyone ends up in the water. A safety boat with a proper engine will help make sure we can get people and boats to safety in the event of a capsize.
Safety is our team's top priority, and this boat will help us prepare for worst-case scenarios. This boat will put us on track for being the safest, the fastest, and the most effective team in our conference.
Donate today to help us reach our $4,000 goal and get CU Sailing motivated. Share to everyone you know to spread the word. Your help will be on our way to be a safer and more successful program.
Last Friday, the volleyball team had their annual pink game hosting the Oregon Ducks in a spirited Pac-12 matchup. The night did not begin well for the Buffs as they lost the first 2 sets. That hole proved too big to climb out of as Colorado ended up losing 3-1. The main turning point of the match came in the second set when the Ducks squeezed by the Buffs 32-30. Ania Smith and Nagedi Abu led the way for Colorado with 18 and 17 kills respectively.
And the volleyball team continued their hot streak on Sunday with a 3-set sweep over the Oregon Ducks. Jack Carlo was there and he has the story.
Team swept Oregon State today 3-0 as they improved to 8-4 at home, 11-8 overall, and 3-5 in the Pac-12. CU won their first set 25-18, not trailing at all, and they won their second set 25-20 and their third set 28-26. Alexis Smith led the way with 12 total kills, and Nagedi Abu totaled 6 blocks and 500 for her career here at CU. The women's volleyball team will travel to Arizona next week as they look to get their first road victory. I'm Jack Carlo, and this is BuffSports Live.
This week's Athlete of the Week goes to Colorado women's volleyball senior Nagedi Abu. She made history by becoming just the second player in school history to record 500 career blocks last Sunday afternoon. Abu chases only Megan Barkman, who finished her career with 565 total blocks.
The women's golf team is taking a trip down south this weekend to the Betsy Rawls Invitational Tournament in Austin, Texas. They'll play 18 holes today, tomorrow, and Sunday against 12 other teams from across the middle of the country. This is the first of 3 consecutive weekends with a tournament for the Buffs as they go to Dallas next weekend, and guess where after that? The tropical island of Hawaii.
The track and field programs announced the schedule for the 2018-19 indoor and outdoor seasons. A couple of notable events include a trip to Alabama in mid-March, which is the final indoor meet for that elite qualify for the 2018 NCAA Indoor National Championship. The Buffs then close out the home competition the opening week of April for the Colorado Invitational. The cross-country team was in action in Wisconsin last week, looking to get redemption from their last meet.
I wonder if Justin was there. But later on in the show, we'll have the answer to the trivia question along with our tweet of the week.
4, 3, 2, 1. Mic up on 2. All right, take 1. And fade camera 2. Take 3. Ready, red. Roll red. Take cam 1. Take red. Take it. Come on, roll red. Let's go. All right.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm just calling the show.
There's no show.
And volleyball teams all in action. There's a
Hey,
full
everyone,
slate of
I'm-
games this weekend. And here's Cam Scott with the full schedule.
I'm Cam Scotts with this week's Rapid Fire. To start things off, we have women's golf at the Betsy Rawls Invitational in Austin, Texas, October 19th through the 21st. 3 days of non-stop action, people. Friday and Saturday will begin at 7 a.m. with Sunday beginning at 7:30. With 3 back-to-back tournaments, head coach Ann Kelly says it'll be a busy finish in the fall. Women's volleyball goes for the kill this Friday in Tucson, Arizona at 8 p.m. and Sunday against Arizona State at 3 p.m. in Tempe. With a 3-5 conference play, they look to break even against the Wildcats, the strongest hitting team in the nation with over 14 kills per set. They are the 12th best mark. And don't forget about football on Saturday, 1:30 p.m. at Washington. The Buffs will face off against the Huskies after both teams took a loss against USC and Oregon respectively. The Buffs hope to start again by charging offensively into Husky territory. Last but not least, Sunday, soccer is on at 1 p.m. against Stanford at Maloney Field in California. The Buffs head in with Colorado senior Jorian Balcom being named Pac-12 Women's Soccer Offensive Player of the Week. Woo! Skol Buffs! Well, we're all burned out for tonight, but tune in next week for esports, an exclusive interview, and everyone's favorite chef. I'm Cam Scott. Back to you, Chairs.
Down at the Wisconsin Invitational 2 weeks ago, the men's cross-country team knew it needed a big day on Saturday at the NCAA Pre-National Invitational, and they impressed. The Buffs finished in 3rd place, only behind number 1 ranked Northern Arizona and number 5 ranked Stanford. The Buffs were led by Joe Klecker, who undoubtedly had the biggest day for the Buffs, finishing 5th in his first complete race of the season.
Both cross-country teams are currently ranked. The men's team received 9 out of 11 first-place votes, and the men's team is ranked 9th in the country. Northern Arizona is ranked 1st. James, I don't think I've ever heard of that university, but nonetheless, good for them.
Earlier in the show, our trivia question was, when did the Buffs join the Pac-12? Well, the answer is 2011. Colorado joined the Pac-12 after spending over 17 years in the Big 12.
And our tweet of the week comes to you from one forever Buff to another. So I guess you could call it a Buff session, maybe? I mean, I don't know if that works. But anyway, Chidobe Awuzie, the former corner for CU and current Dallas Cowboy, tweeted Philly, Filthy, spelled with a PH for Phil, in reference to Philip Lindsay's touchdown last night while the Broncos were playing the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, we still love our forever Buffs on this show. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time for today. James, you want to tell everyone about your plans for this weekend?
Yes, Vinay, Cam, and myself are going to be flying to Seattle to cover the game, and we will have all of the updates next week right back here.
That sounds exciting. I mean, I certainly have my fingers crossed for them. Hopefully they don't get blown out too badly, but nonetheless, enjoy the nice weather for the weekend, Buffs fans. For James Margulis, I'm Jack Stern.